Hello, I'm so sorry. We are about to do this. Return. Continue. Okay, so we got it. Okay, so gonna do a short stream. Sorry. It didn't only smell like old people. Inside the house, the air was stiff, like it had gotten old too. The staircase went up and narrow, went deeper inside. Huge flower patterns, pattern paper plastered all over the walls when you could see the walls anyway. The hall was crowded with shelves, table, and those were cluttered with more things. It was sort of like walking through a museum with all the fancy pieces to see, but it was also reminded you of a storage closet that was stuffed with things that you have nowhere else to put it. So maybe a closet in a museum? Though you didn't know any museum or closet that had colorful candy sitting in a worn silver dish. This house did. There's two kinds, bright see-through hard candies and see-through plastic wrappers. There's Smarties and those pale taffies that you couldn't see through that was twisted up in waxy paper. Mom passed you, not even looking at the candy bowl. Even the side table it sat was on much closer to your height than hers. It was right in front of your face. Okay. It was tasty. Maybe some other time. Tamarack's granny showed the way down the hall through the big opening in the wall. Past that was the living room. Or not. When Granny crossed the rug that was also flowered, sat down on a smooth green chair, she didn't call it that. This is the drawing room. I come here, I sit on my throne, and entertain our guests. You can take a seat, but do be careful. These are antiques. Tamarack just hovered around the table. Hearing the adults talk was one thing, but sitting down and doing nothing while listening to who was asking for too much. Okay. You joked. Mom smirked right away, knowing you were kidding. Her smile then carried over to Miss Bosman. You won't find that here. That's not what a drawing room means. However, Tamarack has color pencils in her bedroom. Oh, God. Yeah, I got all the colors of the rainbow and even more. You sat on the couch very carefully. It looked like the sturdiest option. You position your butt right along the edges with your back touching the furniture as little as possible. Mom settled into the couch cushion next to you, leaned against the arm rest to even get more cozier. You and Granny's were the only ones taking this antique seriously. Miss Bowman didn't say anything over that, though she did go on to say many other things. The two ladies talked about each other and their kids and grandkids. Time my grandma was retired, you found out. Her husband was supposed to be too, she says with a strong opinion on that matter. Miss Bauman explained to your mom how he was constantly taking on a temporary consulting jobs. And if not, then he was being taken out for dinner or lunch or something else so people could pick his brain for advice casually, even if he couldn't be an actual employee. You had no idea why would anyone say something like picking brains. It sounds gross. It was because of that you started paying attention to the words shared between grown-ups most carefully. Miss Bauman and Mom were still talking. It's as if people think half of the town will fall apart without him. Oh, he was in the construction work, remodeling, refurbishing, and repairs. I see. A very up comparison then. They both laughed and through Mom's polite chuckle and compared to Granny's hearty cackle. It's true that there was always something or another going wrong with somewhere. Golden Grove isn't as young as it used to be. But there is always so much he can do when he's as aged as those deliberate buildings themselves. Oh shit. What are you doing, baby? Opening and the slamming of a door followed her declaration. For a second, everyone stopped. Did Granny's description insult the house itself? No. The heavy steps came after a bang, and then a moon you've never seen passed by the opening. The hall. Opa! One hand gripping on the armrest and the other swinging out towards Mom. Miss Bauman lifted herself off the swirly pattern cushion. That's him right now, Granny abruptly called out as she caught sight of a rare animal in the wild and needed the rest of the team to get over when they had a chance. Though it wasn't right, yelling would only scare the peaceful animal away. Instead, maybe she was trying to catch a shooting star before it disappeared for good. Oh, there he is. He looks like he's 50. Except that one didn't work either because Miss Bauman was able to make the meteor still. Mr. Bauman stood suspended in space, suddenly staring through the wall hole into the drawing room. Tamara's Opa was very gray. His suit, his doll shoes, and his short hair. What was the mysterious in his eyes? They might have been gray too, or maybe you were tricked by all the other grayness, and they were actually blue. Yeah, they're actually blue. He pushed his hat higher on his forehead with a large hand and slow and steady. Afternoon. His grumble heard his voice cemented into a impression that started to build on you. It was a low grumble noise. The tone sounded the way his scratchy beard and bushy eyebrows must have felt. The studio man, colorless and rough, was basically a stone statue that had come to life somehow, and that was total opposite of Miss Bauman. Hi, Opa, this is Taylor and her mom. They hear the people in the other house? The neighbors. Oh, he don't look happy. Mr. Bauman mumbled briefly in response, and his eyes shifted away from the seating area. He wasn't talking about the news. You got the impression that he was thinking about it. Good day. He turned his body to match the new direction of his gaze. Fine, go hide in your cave. We'll be here if you decide to join us after all. Miss Bauman showed her surrender and quickly lowered herself into the chair again. Dinner will be ready in a couple of hours. You at least can't miss that. Mr. Bauman made his escape without looking back. He probably could miss that if he tried. Where would we? I remember. Tamarack's grandpa had only said a few real words. You could count them on one hand. Her granny had to have said 100,000 times words, 100,000 times more than that, and still had more to go. But your mom was talking too. You could tell she wasn't ready to be done. She had her listening face on, not her how soon can I get to stop expression. You just sat there quietly. Suddenly, for the first time in ages, Mom looked at you instead of the three Bauman. She hadn't forgotten you were there too. Oh, Taylor, are you fine staying longer? There's a couple things I would like to discuss with Miss Bauman while I can. As a little impact that you had on the adults, Tamarack still did enough to distract them all. Since our grandpa left, she's been staring at the window, doing that thing where she bumped her bag around. She used her hip instead of her butt this time. Don't make me go with her. With the way Granny gently placed her hands in her lap, she really did look like a queen on her throne. You had to wonder, was she a kind queen or an evil queen? Why don't we let these two young friends play in the backyard while us old folks stay here to talk? You wouldn't go far, would you, Tamarack and Taylor? And we'd come to get you when it's time to leave. Would that be acceptable, Opal? It was weird to have someone call Mom by her name, even if it was her name. She was Mom. That would be great. Excellent suggestion. Tamarack's bag stopped gently. That was the only reason you heard her intent whisper. Come on, Taylor. Neither of you had officially been given permission to leave before she zoomed out of the room and around the corner in the same direction as her Opa had vanished to. Now we're going outside. He hadn't been the only one who wanted to get away. Don't run in the hall, please. Knowing well that warning wasn't going to change anything, Miss Bauman sighed in resignation. Fine. No one listens to a word I say. Meanwhile, you haven't moved an inch. Mom gave you the coaxing you needed. It's all right. You should go play. I'll see you soon. That's Venus, because I don't like her. You went after Tamarack, stepping carefully through the unfamiliar house. Though there wasn't anything in your way, the furniture and the knickknacks were all pushed against the wall. And the place that was clear of clutter was the center of the hall. Past the living room there were doors to unknown places, another hole in the wall that went to the kitchen. You spotted Tamarack at the end of the house. She yanked open the back door and padded outside. She left it wide open, a portal of light and gold inviting you through the dark. When you came to stand at the edge, you found Tamarack had been waiting for you to catch up at the bottom of the couple of uneven wooden stairs. They were bent inwards, like after being pressed down so many times they stayed sunk. It was your turn to leave a mark on that impression. One step, then another, and then both of you were outside. Invisible ribbons of perfume melted off your clothes, unable to live out in the fresh, freezing air. Just like his backyard, Tamarack's house had no fences around it. Shit! Invisible ribbons of perfume Just like his backyard, Tamarack's house had no fence around it. There was no way to tell when the yard stopped and the forest began. It was even more impossible to see where the forest ended. It might go on forever, and that was all the same for the two places though. Instead of Q's secret hideout, there was a fancy table with two chairs that looked like it was there for Tamarack's grandparents. And hanging from the thick branch was a rope sprung around the tire swing. That part of the place had to be there for their granddaughter. Woo! Tamarack hollered a cry of freedom and skipped down to the small stone path, never touching a blade of grass. She hefted the messenger bag over her shoulder, chucked it aside with a thunk, and flung herself through the hole of the tire. All you can see is Tamarack and then her little legs kicking up in the air and her arms spread out past the width of her tire, so she was floating. The swing slowly twisted its rope until it brought her eager face around. Hi, Taylor! You grinned at her and went over. Tamarack's upright legs snapped down and she plunged the tip of her boot into the soft earth below. It was supposed to stop the tire from doing another spin, except she couldn't stop it at all. The way the turning swing twisted her to the side, Tamarack held firm, jerking futilely in the tire to center it again. But none of that meant she couldn't keep talking to you. She happily explained how all came to be. Only an Alpine got this just for me. They're too old to use a tire swing. It'd be funny to see them try. Thinking about that made you laugh, she snickered too. That'd be a terrible idea. They can't bend over that much. She wiggled her body and dug her shoes even harder, trying to get out. Let's play something. Making sure we don't accidentally click anything. Pretty sure you decided to push the tire. You grabbed the tire, walked back and pulled it high. Then you dove out of the way. She screeched giggly as you let go. Her legs went up again. There was no reason to stop the swing from going somewhere. You chased it after the tire to keep pushing it, so you never stopped seeing her face no matter how it moved. The two of you giggled as Tamarack swung back and forth. The excitement of the swing eventually settled. You breathed in deeply through your nose. The air stung a little, but it was mostly nice. Tamarack wasn't talking, laughing, or squealing like she normally was. The two of you were alone together. That also didn't happen a lot. If you wanted to, you could ask her something that you've been wondering about. Like what? Tamarack, I was wondering, why don't you ever... You and Tamarack had known each other for almost 2 whole days, and she said your name lots of times then. You couldn't figure out why she didn't even ever try to say Tay. It's okay if you use it, everyone does, except my mom. Maybe you didn't remember? Oh, I remembered, but you told me your name first. That seems like the most important one. Omi is Omi, Opa is Opa, Q is Q, and Taylor is Taylor. If there's a best name, why say something that's not the best? I can use your nickname too, if it's just as good. Thank you for being okay. You're welcome, Tay. She said your nickname brightly with special intention. The extra proved she was good at what you wanted. You felt all warm and fuzzy, having her call you Tay, and do you like that? Then Tamarack wiggled around again. She plopped out of the back hole, landed in the grass on her butt, but Tamarack immediately sprang to her feet and began to move farther away from the swing. Something was happening, or was about to happen. You went off the path the boat hit her. She pressed her fist into her hips and spoke without turning around. Tamarack's hair fluttered animatedly with each word because she nodded while talking. That made it look like a fluffy gold sheep was the one saying it. We better start soon. It's gonna get dark. Start what? Finding the good stuff. There's a lot out there, you know. She reached out to collect her big bag, hooking it around her shoulder like normal. That's when she turned around and your face was Tamarack herself instead of the sparkling lamb of her. Have you been to this place before? Not to this town. I only came here when I moved yesterday. Okay, let's see. Where you live really far away. So which one should I say? Far up from the cloud. But my former home is free. Yeah. Should I say nearby or? That's alright, I can tell you about it, the outside and everything. All the forests in the world are different, and some places don't even have forests. This one's great because there's mushrooms, there's rosehip, acorns, and great rocks and more. I can show you the good spots to find since you're newer to this forest than me. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks. You're welcome. Let's go looking right now. Yeah. No, that's not going to be good. You're going to get lost. Oh, fuck. Together, you and Tamara began your treasure hunt at the edge of the forest. In the bushes, at the base of the trees, under the rocks, across the low-hanging branches, all around the fallen logs, nothing was left unexamined. When Tamarack found something worth saving, she placed it on the widest, flattest stone in the path. That was to keep her fingers free to do more collecting. You discovered something you wanted to take with you. You placed it on the table instead. Your pals grew rapidly as the two of you dashed back and forth from clearing the house in the wilderness a few feet away. Just like class, Tamarack was fully focused and squinting hard. She only stopped snooping to rub her tattered sleeve and into her eyes, then kept going. Maybe the dirt was getting into her eyes with how close she's been getting close to the ground. And maybe bits of twigs too, since she wasn't afraid to shove her head into a bush. Leaves did get stuck in her hair, same as the first time you ever seen her. As time passed, a shadow crept over the yard, and an obscuring sweater pulled over the body of the earth as it got cooler. Like Tamarack's own sweater, it had a few holes here and there that was easier to see through. You and Tamarack were forced to limit your search through the rare spotlights, and it wouldn't be possible to keep doing it for much longer. You glanced over. Tamarack crouched in the grass, encircled by the darkness and trees. She shone under a stream of pale evening sun. A few strong rays hit her back, giving illusions of a golden fairy wings. Seeing her there that way made it so much sense than when you saw her at school or her grandparents' antique house. That's what was natural to Tamarack, being in nature. Even her name was a kind of tree. When Tamarack officially announced the end of her hunt, the day reaching to its end, that was probably the only reason why she stopped. You didn't mind stopping either. Your treasure pile was already big and buried. All that was left to do was gather it up. That was easier to think than do. You struggled to get each one of the small, mostly round valuables in your grasp. Tamarack couldn't scoop everything in her hand at one time. Pebbles, road chip rolled out of her grasp and off the stepping stone. That was close enough for an impatient kid. Tamarack rushed over to show you what she managed to find and carry. This is what I got. She nudged her hand full of bursting with wonderful things. Even nearer, an acorn dropped to the ground. Here, take whatever you want. But it's yours, and I already have a lot. I know you have your own for yourself, but you can take part of mine, so you'll always also have a thing to give away. Or maybe you want to share what you got and keep the ones I give you. Something like that. You can share with your mom or my Omi or Pa or anybody. That's the most fun part. If I share with like someone else, she's probably going to be like, oh, the answer to that puzzle. You hadn't realized you were confused. Bye, Tamarack said. She went out in the woods all the time. She must have found enough of things to fill her grandparents' entire house. Her granny would definitely not like that. She needed room for her own clutter. The that was never the problem because Tamrock didn't hold on to the collection herself. She spread it out to everybody. I think so too. Nice giving people presents. Okay. 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 I take some. If the exchange can be done so smoothly, neither of you had free hands to pass or pick up present. Tamrock settled for dumping part of her paws over yours. Some of it ended up on the ground instead. None of it was stuff that you didn't already have in form, but you were glad to have it. Now they were prizes that you gotten with your own effort and gifts from your friend. Both were important for different reasons. You had been certain you didn't want any of these things when it first started. It felt good to wrap your fingers around them. They were a special gift from Tamrock to you. Still grasping a loose collection of forest finds, Tamrock marched over to the side and out of her backyard and into yours. Where are you going? Tamrock flipped around. She leaned towards you and put her whole body into the call. It's okay. I'm going to Q's house. Come on. She already resumed her advantage across your line before you had a chance to react. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. You and Tamrock crunched through the long grass in a million of leaves. The sidewalk in front of the house was a big half circle. In the back of them was a curve like that too. When you got more around the bend, you could see your whole entire yard. It was empty, grown wild, and there was no fort, no tie swing, no table with chairs, not even one lantern with a burnt out bulb. You faced away from the house. You think you were in the heart of the woods. It's kind of cool. I had so much space and that was your space. At the other end of the field, Q's fort could be seen towering in the distance. Let's serve! And encouraged Tamrock to shuffle ahead faster. The quicker step jiggled in her hands caused a few more pieces of her collection to rain down around her. Since it all came from the outside anyway, it wasn't littering. The structure was only a sign that you were almost there. Her destination, Tamrock went straight to the hideout. And there she arranged the entire collection of her new pile at the base of the climbing wall. Her hands were free. She brushed them together. Her job was done. What are the treasure you found? Carefully selected, and you placed them around your own collection next to Tamrock. What was left got stuffed in your bag for safekeeping. There was nothing left to do, and when Tamrock spoke for the first time since you got into Q's yard. Let's go. Q's gonna be home before dinner. He could catch us, or his parents might see us. I never talked to them. Who knows what they do? Through a hole tingled over you, and you nodded. Right. You fled the scene of the crime, or was it a crime if you left new things instead of taking their stuff? It didn't matter. You weren't going to find out. The two of you went around the back around the bend of the sprint in a sprint, kicking up a whirl of leaves behind you. Not you or her looked back. Tamarack passed its stone. Tamarack got past the stone pathway like it was the finish line to a race and crumpled into the grass laughing. But the giggles turned into achy yips when she landed all the way down. Ow, 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 I found some rocks in my pocket. She laughed some more and out more, each one taking a turn, its fair turn. Are you okay? Mm-hmm. Tamarack rolled off her side to settle on her tummy. She squished her big cheeks against the little fence and she kicked her feet up into the air. Rubber boots flopped around on her feet. Or some little. She looked at you, her smile puffed at the side like it did a lot. It was an invitation to join her. You did, sitting carefully on the cool lawn in front of her. Goose cleaned up trash. Now he's gonna get a surprise from the forest thanks to us. Even though the two of you were on the ground, your moods were high as the sky. It was so cool and weird that you were playing in a friend's backyard. When did that happen? How did that happen? You moved into this town, Tamarack sprung out at you, and you pretty much been together since. Even if your brain had gotten insane because Tamarack started talking about the same thing. Hey, of all the friends I have, you're the best one. It was still a surprise to you that she said that. You heard it before a long time ago when you first came to her house, and she was going to say it again. You figured it would have happened way before, but she wanted to do it then. She kept going. We came to the exact same neighborhood almost at the same time and at the same age. We're both girls. Oh no, is she gonna try to do a girls club? I have a feeling for that. You had fun outside and I do too. We both got scarred. I never even met a kid who was just like me. That's important, that's serious. America started shouting and sucked in the loudness of her breath, and what came out next was low. You had to really listen. You and me are gonna be friends forever. The words were something more regular, more than a regular promise, more like a pinky promise too. It was a swear, not the bad kind of swear though. Next time, you're really nice. The searching the secret trip to Q's house, each were complete. And at that point, you were pretty sure Tamarack's final plan was to stay right there until the grass grew around her. It was that moment when a door creaked open and the two smiling faces looked over the yard. Your mom and Tamarack's grandma came to get you. It was hard to imagine they really spent all that whole time sitting in the living room. Hi, Taylor. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we gotta get going. Oh, bye, Taylor. I'm gonna stay outside. Sending a smile to Mom, you pushed yourself to your feet. Bye, Tamarack. Miss Bowman didn't even question Tamarack's remaining laid out in the grass. She left her granddaughter there and guided her guest in through the back door and up to the front. Why couldn't you have gone around the house instead of through it? It was too late to tell them because it was already done when you realized. Miss Bowman stopped at the entryway, opening the door and fitting herself into a rare opening between furniture. The clear path your mom kept going past her nice and order. On the porch, Mom halted and turned. The hostess had moved to stand in the doorway, so they were face to face. It was good to meet you, too. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other more often. Good day. Of course. Goodbye, and thanks for the talk. Miss Bowman nodded kindly and slowly pressed the door forward. Mom waved until she was doing it to a plank of wood. The door was shut, and then she let her hands drop and talk to you. Busy day, huh? But that was good. The words went high and the sound of relief instead of a low, which would have been real contentment. Instead of just something good happening, it was more like when you avoid something bad happening, but it was still good in a different way, that if nothing had been at stake. Time to go. Except before you left the Bowman porch, something made you stop in your tracks. There was a stranger strolling into the cul-de-sac, rolling a bike along with them. It was almost as long as the person was tall. The sight had a totally different impact on your mom. It pulled her forward. Oh, it's Mr. Lin. Mr. Lin, like, Q Lin? That's Q's dad. Probably. It could be an uncle or a way older sibling. Oh. He wore a pale green sporty jacket and also black dress pants. His hair swept was super neat, but styled in a fun way that most grown-ups didn't have. The kind that introduced him to you without needing to say a word. Mr. Lin, whoever he was real professional, but not all strict about. Oh, though, wait. Why did your mom already know that? Mom, how do you know him? What? We talked to him many times, and you know Q, that's his father. Okay, Q's dad it was. That didn't answer your real question. Occult. Maybe? Joking. Or what if? You racked your brain for the past conversation your mom was talking about. Nothing came up. Yeah, I know Q, but I've never heard anything about his dad. Confusion screwed up her face. She was as convinced you knew as much as you were sure you didn't. Wait, that's right. She laughed and pressed her hand to her cheek. I never called him by his name to you. It's the real estate person who helped us find our house. Oh. Memories of Mom pacing around your old apartment, getting excited whenever a real estate person would call with news, played with behind your eyes. Those Q's dad from other line the whole time. I've seen his picture. He has a website, and we chatted over the phone. Yesterday was the first time we met in person. That's who I was waiting for to get our keys from. We arrived extra early. He couldn't break away from some appointments until the evening. You glanced away from your own parents to Q's. It was easy enough to see how the two were related. Both looked really pleased with themselves and the whole world, even when nothing was happening. Q and Mr. Lin both liked bikes, too. When you turned back to your mom, she had a huge, encouraging smile on her face. Let's see him over there. It'll be hard to move the bike for him to come to us. Mom's attention was split between gesturing for Mr. Lin to stop and getting to go with her. One hand went up and the other one went down. Hello! Q's dad reined in the moving bike and stood in place. Next he waved. Hello, Miss Sweet. Welcome. What a coincidence running into you out here. Good to see you again. Nice meeting you too. This is my daughter, Taylor. So she's the one. Hi, Taylor. Your real estate, your real estate agent folded his arm and tilted his head down. His hair was in front of his face, fell away, letting you see him clearly. This is a big moment. I can finally introduce myself after hearing so much about you from your mom, of course, but Q has his own contribution. It feels like meeting a celebrity in person. Yeah, Q told you himself. He was talking to his parents about what happened yesterday. Mr. Lin knew things about you from two different people. But Q, tell me, he chuckled warmly. Q likes to talk, you might have noticed. Unless you asked him to keep something a secret, or he could guess on his own that he shouldn't be sharing it, there's nothing he hasn't said about his brand new neighbor. Thanks for finding his missing notes, by the way. You're welcome. Then Mr. Lin adjusted his glasses and the topic of the conversation. Welcome officially to the neighborhood. I wanted to come by to see you, how you were settling in, but I wasn't sure when would be a great time. I hope to catch you both. There's an unfamiliar car on the road. I'm guessing yours, but the house is dark. Neither of you look to be around. Oh, yes, that's ours. Sorry you missed us. We were meeting the neighbors to the right. Tamara kindly invited Taylor and me to her home. Dorothy and we had a talk, and we very briefly saw Ernest passing by. Don't apologize. That's perfect. If you get the chance to visit the Bowman's house, I say take it. And now you can come meet the other neighbors. Well, one other. You're already well acquainted with Q, and we said our hellos here. Do you have time to swing by? Personally, I'd love to introduce myself to Miss Lin. She was really only answering for herself. Your mom asked for your thoughts, depending on another meet and greet. Can we go to Q's mom, Taylor? Okay. Thank you. We can stop by now. That's great. Give me a minute. Mr. Lin patted the handle of his bike, bringing attention to it. That was something he needed to deal with. He coaxed the set of wheels to move. With an expert hand, he got it across the road and up the curb, over the grass and onto Q's and also his entryway. Mama gradually made the same trip. She kept a lot of distance between her and the real estate man, not wanting to risk an even slim chance of getting away. You went along with Mom, so you stayed together. Mr. Lin wrapped his knuckles around the white door of the red house. He busied himself during the wait by tapping the bike handle instead of humming a soft tune. We'll be going pretty soon. Someone, though it was probably Q's mom, opened it halfway to attend to a guest. The door was thrown open all the way the second the person realized who was there. Hello, honey. Huh? Did you lose your key? With an unpolite laugh, Mr. Lin stretched past the bike front to greet his wife by kissing her cheek. No, I just wanted you to come over. I figured this would be the quickest way. Our new neighbors are here. Mrs. Lynn peered further on, and there was the neighbors, you and Mom. Still staring ahead, Miss Lynn stepped forward in time to bump into her husband. He made a move to get into the fenced area of the porch. Miss Lynn gasped, and the bike shuddered a metallic cry. Miss Lynn hastily grabbed the seat cushion to steady it. She leaned to the right for her next attempt to pass. So did Mr. Lynn. Mr. Lynn settled on pressing his back to the little wall by the door while holding up the bike against himself. Miss Lynn finally managed to shuffle by and reach the sidewalk, but not before muttering bashfully, "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. It's no trouble. Go on." Miss Lynn let out a breath to compose her normal self after the intentional dance with her husband and her husband's bike. Her clothes were light blue. Her hair was blue too. Oh shit, I didn't know they were blue. Way darker though. Wherever she lifted her legs to walk, her creases in her dress moved like flower petals in the breeze. There was something special, so peaceful about it. Even her voice drifted along gently. I'm Mrs. Lynn, Mrs. Yeeman. If you're the new neighbors, you must be Miss Opa and Taylor Street. Is that true?" "Yes, precisely." Mom reached forward, offering her a shake. Miss Lynn grasped her mom's hand with one of her hands, covered the top of it with her hand. The two didn't exactly shake, really. They just squeezed each other for a second, and they were hugging with hands. After Miss Lynn carefully unwrapped her fingers from Mom, her gaze drifted downwards. Miss Lynn curled into a blueberry ball, bringing her chin to her knees. The edge of her spotless dress brushed the grass, but it brought her to the eye level of you. "How short are we?" "Hey." She held up her hand for you to take. You would never have guessed that was going to happen. Most adults didn't act that way. They act like you were grown up, or kids that could be treated the same way as grown-ups were. Okay. You have the shot. She didn't hold you in place and moved up and down with your motion. "It is nice to meet you, Taylor." She then pushed off the ground to stand up perfectly straight in one fluid motion. You see how much you and her dad were alike because they're matching confidence. The same thing happened to his mom, except you needed a little imagination to make the connection. If Miss Lynn was put on super ultra fast forward, it looked like how you treated people. But now you've seen everybody who lived on this street, plus some extras. All the other kids were about your age, or 2 to 3 years older. For the adults, it was a lot trickier to put ages together. Except for Tamrock's parents, they were absolutely the most dulled. When it came to the non-grandparents grown-ups, 2 of them could be a year apart or have a 10-year difference. With almost no way to tell. 10 years was the length of your entire life. It was impossible to imagine having that much time just being an adult. Your best conclusion was that Miss Murray would probably be the youngest grown-up person. Your mom and Keith's parents were somewhere in between. You wondered how your mom felt finding out there was two people around her age, maybe the neighbors. Was that a big deal for two adults? Is she going to make friends with them like you did with Q and Tamara? Could someone her age be friends with people who had been around long, as Granny and Mr. Bauman? Or could that not work? The grandparents were double adults, super adults. Mom kind of acted like they were regular grown-ups, as respectful to them as their kids, as kids had to treat her. But one way or another, Mom was gonna find out, gonna have to make a life in Golden Grove with these people too. I'm sorry to be the last one of my family who came to meet you personally. No, don't worry about that. Hong had a huge advantage of all the things. Your mom quirked her lips good humorously. The Q also beat it to you, and that was a closer race. A joke, a teasing one. Mom made an attempt to be less professionally polite. You watched the adult interaction, wondering how it would turn out. It seemed to go pretty well because Miss Lynn laughed. He was very excited. There's never been another child next door until now. We have come to the same time. Oh, I hope Taylor and I lived up to expectation. I like to make a good impression on the magnificent Miss Lynn. The other Mr. Lynn came over and joined the conversation, showing off his now free hands with a shrug. He had gotten the bulky bike into the porch trail behind the mailbox so he could stop pulling it around for a second. He has been out with his friends since school ended. We are here to yet to hear about when he popped by your house in the morning. But I'm certain the new neighbor, Miss Opal Sweet, will get a glowing report over time. Thank you. I'm usually the one giving the performance reviews. Who knew it was so nerve-wracking? Oh yes, terrifying. This was a type of humor your mom liked. Dealing with people was her job. She could pretend that it was nothing but challenging. Or some challenging. You didn't know Q's mom well enough to be sure if that was also a joke or if she meant it seriously. But you guessed anyway, she sounded actually scared of the idea. Plus, Mr. Lynn went for earnest answer instead of messing around. He had to know. You ladies have nothing to fear. No one okay, you have nothing to fear. No one is gonna give you a failing back. Trust me. And I can already report that my son is entirely fond of your daughter. Now that is a wonderful news because my Taylor is just attached to your boy. That's right. Q and you were already great friends. Final neighbor you met spoke sweetly on behalf of the entire family. We'll have to give them plenty of time to nurture their friendship. Miss Q slipped her arm out around Mr. Lynn. They were unified physically and legally in this opinion. I'm glad we're all on the same page here. His parents were cool as he was. I need to apologize for myself for cutting this introduction so short. We have to get home. There's more unpacking to do before the day is over. I absolutely do want to speak more another time, though. Oh, that's fine. Yes, we understand completely. I imagine it's a big job. Getting a new house in order always is, even when it hadn't been left out to collect dust a bit. Luckily, it looks as most of this furniture already will be worth keeping after a good scrubbing and polishing. Is that so? I thought in that case, that be the case, it was quite a perk of the property. They seemed they had good advice picking a location. That was said with a sly smile and side-eye to her husband, Mr. Lynn had a streak of charm too. Ooh, Colt. Thanks, honey. Mr. Lynn put a hand on the back of his head and one of the corners of his glasses before leaning in back to laugh. He wanted to make sure nothing fell off, you guess. But if you do need help with any heavy lifting, you're welcome to let me know. I'll call you. She was a gymnastics in college, and she can do more than push-ups than me. So Mrs. Lynn, I went saucer-wide. She can get them back to normal size. Mrs. Lynn slammed them shut instead. There wasn't a way to get a rotisserie chicken. Cheeks. The part of the reaction you've seen from Q's mom so far, she was the one that started phrasing, please, we should both help if it's needed. Your mom got a chuckle out of the exchange. There you have it. There's the links at your house. There you have it. The links are at your service. Thank you for the offer. Thank you for coming over. Taylor, you're the best. Your best welcome over anytime. Goodbye. Okay, so, sorry. Thank you for coming over, and Taylor, you're both welcome over anytime. Goodbye. And we're gonna save there, and I'm gonna go. Sorry for ending the stream 20 minutes later. And join the Discord, exclamation point, Discord, exclamation info. And yeah, let's get to it. Can't wait for more. I am going to go. And bye. Can't wait for the real thing to come out. I'll buy this. Bye bye.